Hello and welcome in. I am MissKinghorn and we are back here in The Sims 4 with another build with the new Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. I have to admit, this one, we're very close to the edge. Yeah, I don't really know what happened. I feel like because this pack is so broad, you can do so many different things with it. I struggled, and I struggled in the way that if I have too many options, I have no options. So this is build number 3, attempt number 4, 3, 4. Yeah. This has been a bit of a nightmare of a week, I have to be honest. I have also injured my hand at work, so I'm not really happy. I was struggling already, and then I just could not build. But yeah, we got there in the end, eventually. So yeah, this is what I came up with, and strangely enough, I'm doing the kind of decorations first. I think I did this because I wanted to know kind of how much room I had at the end, which I kind of guess makes sense, but yeah, this is not how I normally build. So what we're doing at the moment, we are building a kind of 2 buildings that kind of work together. We are going to be creating a kind of like a classroom, like a pottery sort of school kind of aspect, and then also a kind of pottery shop, kind of where maybe they have some of the young creators who come in for the school, or even like the people who run it, they sell their own pottery in there, and then they kind of like, it helps pay for the school, that sort of thing. That's kind of what I was thinking in my head when I started to build all of that. But as you can see at the moment, we are working on car parking spaces. Now, there is lots of car parking in this world. I have to be fair, Nordhaven is kind of full of car parks. Every sort of lot tends to have a car parking space, which is a little bit weird because we don't have cars in the game. But yeah, you can sort of see I've built 2 little ones on here just because I had the empty space and I didn't really know what else to put in with them, and I feel like they're just a good decoration filler. So yeah, that's kind of what we wanted, and what we have in here. But you kind of have this sort of weird shape that I'm sort of seeing here. So the building on the left here is what's going to be the classroom, and then the building on the right hand side is the sort of pottery shop come like stairs to the apartment upstairs. So you can sort of see I have filled, kind of covered upstairs up, so it's 1 building and not just 2. And then we have this sort of alleyway that kind of goes through between the 2 buildings, which I thought was a nice little feature in here. It kind of just made it look a little bit more like they were 2 shops, but they're kind of conjoined, and it made it a little bit easier to build with, I've got to be honest, because I was able to actually get a full apartment in here. So we do also have a 3-bedroom 2-bathroom apartment upstairs, and yeah, quite a bit downstairs as well. So you're going to sort of see how all of this all comes together in here. But first of all, working on the new roofing, I love the colours, sort of that green and the black. I do slightly wish we had more options, I've got to be honest, but you know, it's one of those things where I'm just a little bit picky. I mean, we all know it by now. I want more in here, but what I decided to go for is a really nice sort of dark red colour, which I absolutely love how, like, this colour and how it all works, especially with the green roof. I think it works in here really, really well. And you're going to see me eventually find the wallpaper that goes from this pack. I end up having to filter by it because I just could not find it, and that is a problem I have had. Some things just are not tagged very well. I don't really know why, but yeah, but then we go for a soft pink for the kind of back aspect, and then we have this little weird pop out. I felt like I just needed a little bit more space when I was doing the floor plan, so I decided to bring this little pop out up here, and I've gone for like a yellow and kind of a blue base at the bottom. I thought we just made a really nice building. I was going to do it actually as another shop, to have like 3 commercial areas on here, but I changed my mind. You'll sort of see when I come to put signs up, this wasn't originally going to be like a little laundrette. I changed that kind of concept, and we don't have that in the end. I might do something like that in the future. Let me know if that's something you would like to see, or if you have any ideas, any suggestions for any kind of builds to do. I feel like, again, I have so many ideas, and yet I have the ability to do none of them. And I say that because I've tried. This week alone, I have tried building a hotel, a sports centre, this pottery studio, which I eventually gave up on, and this is another version of it. Yeah, I did another cafe. I went round and round in circles, and I gave up pretty quickly on all of them. I think it's probably the safe way to put it. I gave up on everything. But yeah, we'll get there in the end. So this is what we're doing. Now the back windows don't really add up. I kind of had to make a choice whether the front windows worked or the back windows worked, because I couldn't do 2. It made it quite difficult to actually work out how to get them all in there, because the spacing and the lining and the roofs and all things like that just didn't make too much sense. But a few little decorations along the front here, just sort of making it into a really nice sort of commercial kind of shop front in here as well, and making it look kind of quite old, and yeah, kind of what I really wanted this whole sort of space to be. I feel like maybe these were originally houses and then they've been kind of commercialized. I feel like a little bit more than kind of they originally were retail units. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking when I was doing all of this. But I love these new gutterings, I have to be honest. They look amazing and so much more realistic than the original ones. My problem, and you can sort of see it here, they actually clip through a little bit, so they're a little bit too tall, but we get there in the end in here. So you can sort of see some of the shop signs are for a laundromat. That changes in here, but yeah, we'll get that all in a second. I finally found the debug. We'll all be pleased to know. For some weird reason, it just was not working for me, and I couldn't find it, and I was putting in the cheats over and over again. I went back to following tutorials on how to get the cheats to work. Could not do it. Eventually figured out a way. I have to be fair. It took a while though, into here, but now we're moving in to the kind of pottery school, kind of come studio kind of area, kind of the making of pottery in here. So I'm using a split level in here because we are using the medium wall height for this aspect. No, the tall wall height for this aspect, sorry. I had enough space that I decided to add some height into here and a little bit different, because I wanted it to kind of have just that elevation change. I feel like some of my builds recently have been quite flat, and I thought it would be a nice little change and something a little bit different in here. Now, I kind of ummed and ahed about the colour scheme in here, and in the end I went for a very black kind of vibe with some of the red that we pull in from the outside. I feel like that really worked in there as well. I didn't realise how big the whiteboard would need, like an area it would need. I kind of envisioned it being quite a small space. It had to basically change up a little bit, so I was hoping to get like the front of this to be like the store, kind of where you sell off your work, and the back to be the making of. That changed because this whiteboard needed such a big area, and it has like a weird kind of like markings around the edge. You can just sort of see it above the top of the stairs here. Basically anywhere in that is like classroom space. So I decided on a nice small little waiting room at the front here. Maybe if you're waiting for a class to start, or you've arrived a bit early, or maybe it's you want to have like a conversation with like the person doing the class or the lecture. That kind of what I was thinking in here. So a nice little sort of waiting area. People, when I was playtesting this, they did come in and sit down and just have a chat, which is not too bad. It's not one of the things that I kind of put on the list when I kind of created this business as what I wanted people to do, but it made sense for people to use this space in there as a little bit of a sit down. I kind of built it with the realism of that's what people would do. In here we do get in lots of lighting. I feel like pottery is something that you need a lot of lights for, so we have big overhead lights, and then on this back wall I've also created some kind of like wall scones on here and some artwork on the wall. Maybe it's like their best student has given them some work or something and they've hung that up in there. And now I'm just going to go through. We have 4 kind of pottery wheels and then 2 sort of desk sort of spaces at the back here. Each of those can hold 2, so we can have quite a few people in here, and I feel like they would kind of mix and match, so everybody would get a turn on the pottery wheel, or maybe only some classes use the pottery wheel, some are a little bit more classroom kind of like note based rather than actual sort of practical. At least that's what I'm thinking in my head in here. And then I've just kind of cluttered these little spaces up a little bit more using some books and pots and just little knickknacks that I think people would use, like phones and stuff like that in here. And I've also got the kind of school book packs in here as well. But we're very quickly finishing with this area. We're now going to jump over onto this side where we kind of change around for the colours, and we go very pastel in here. So the outside is very pink, blue, there's a little bit of yellow coming through as well, and then we go pink inside because, you know, why not in here. And then following on from what I was saying last week about how retail businesses don't really look like they work anymore, I have actually kind of created a little bit of counter space in here where I feel like your items would be like bubble wrapped up, they would be sort of wrapped, maybe you could have them in like gift wrapping or something available here, that sort of thing. You can also like pay here and things like that as well. That's kind of what I was thinking for a member of staff to sit there. And also you would probably want someone in the building, because if somebody like knocks something over and breaks it, they can just like run away, whereas I kind of think we can have somebody in here would do all of that for you. And I come back and move a few bits and pieces around and just try and put in as much sort of clutter and personalization into here as I possibly can. We do also have these big vases. Now I don't think they're actually for sale because they didn't have the little sort of symbol when I placed them, and nobody's actually like purchased them, which I'm kind of suggesting maybe they can't. I have a feeling things that have to be on the new shelving units, if they are like sellable, which like these items here, I kind of understand, but I'm also kind of annoyed about, because what happens if I want to do a very old school build? I think these are very modern and very kind of niche, whereas I would like something a little bit different if that's what I wanted to create. I don't know. Let me know, are sellable items tied to these, or is everything sellable? If it is, why has nobody bought my laptop or the lamp or something like that? I don't know. I did playtest this for about 3 days. It did take me that long to actually get up to kind of a medium level with this business. I think because I kind of went in with nothing, with like no skills or anything like that as well, which probably doesn't help in here. But yeah, getting lots of bits and pieces out in here, and I love these little gnome kind of artwork pieces, like statues. They work so well, and having the 4 of them around that little sort of plinth looks adorable in here as well. And yeah, trying to find things to actually put on these in here that are like pottery based. Yeah, was a bit challenging, I have to be honest, but we eventually get them all in here and moving things around, and I knew I wanted lots of space in between the items so that people can walk around them. I feel like some of these sort of statues and things you want to look at from any angle, how it's going to look, and yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind when I was doing this. But I ended up getting this gorgeous plant in here in the background. I felt like that was a really nice little feature in here, and because obviously you can buy pot plants that come in sort of huge big vases and things like that as well, I thought that would really work in here. But we're coming up to the end of this section here, and now we're moving on upstairs to this 3-bedroom sort of apartment build up here. So I wanted this to be a space for 2 adults and 2 children. I wasn't at first really sure who I wanted to go in here, like what kind of family, I guess, what kind of Sims to put in here. I kind of just built it and then made the family to fit, which is so not usually me, and it's certainly not me at the moment. I seem to be very customizing my builds for a select family. This is kind of how I used to do it. I think because I was on that sort of time crunch of I don't know what to build. I have probably got about 6-7 hours of footage of builds that I've deleted. Which I don't know whether I'm going to keep them or not. I feel like there might be one that I might like, the idea of one that I might keep, but the actual build that I've done, I'm probably going to it's going to go in the bin. Which, you know, is one of those things. It happens from time to time. But yeah, so at this point I really didn't know who I wanted to kind of go in here. I love this yellow wallpaper and I haven't had a chance to use it, and I figured let's do a whole wall of yellow in here. We didn't really have kind of a colour scheme down, like a set colour scheme downstairs. We just kind of had bits that matched the kind of the building we were in. So I figured down here, let's go nice, bright, colourful. We'll go with a nice sort of yellow pops here and there, but also using a lot of kind of white and sort of black coming through. I actually changed this up a little bit to bring in this dark brown. So the new kitchen counters that we actually got in the base game update have this gorgeous brown swatch, and it matches this coloration here on the table and chairs perfectly. The windows are black, but I think that we can get away with it. I feel like even like some of the latest packs have got gorgeous colours, swatches, and they all work together, which is something we don't tend to have. And I say that very weirdly, as in we really don't have swatches that match until maybe like 2-3 years ago. Then it was like all over the place, but now we're getting into a better habit of having set colours, and I love this sort of dark brown in here. It kind of goes with any kind of build, and that's kind of what I really wanted in here. So the table and chairs actually from different packs to that side table, and yet they work in there really, really well. And so kind of creating this sort of living space in here as well. We do have one fireplace, but we have 2 chimneys. I don't quite know how that works, but hey, we're not here for realism in this space here. I figured pushing it up against that wall there kind of made a nice little sort of area in here, really nice and cozy. I feel like you can get snuggled in, maybe have like a nice little blanket, snuggle up with a film, something like that, with like the fire going, something like that in there. And then yeah, these sofas, and then I was going to go for some yellow pops of colour, but in the end I kind of go for some brown, and we come back through into the kitchen and we change some of the colours to be this darker colour in here, which I think actually makes a lot more sense. And why on earth did I not do it the first time around? anyway, in here, moving back to this living room, this rug is gorgeous. I'm not sure how often I'm going to use it, but I felt like this was quite a modern build in here, at least the upstairs was, or the interiors were, so I figured I could probably get away with it. Again, not too sure how much I'm actually going to get out of here. But now we're moving on to the child's bedroom. So what I do in here is a child and a teen, and weirdly enough the child has the bigger bedroom. I don't really know how that happened. This was the first bedroom I actually done, and I just sort of did it for the kid. And here I thought a nice sort of girl in here who loves flowers and plants, and yeah, has this gorgeous sort of wallpaper on the wall, kind of matches into the bedspread, sort of bringing in some yellow but also running some black through in here as well, just a little bit of difference coming through in here. Lots of sort of house plants and ferns, and yeah, in here I'm realising I needed to move the mirror up. Those mirrors aren't going to be usable because they are moved up from the wall, but you know, they're decorative more than they are practical in there as well. And obviously, if I say being a kid, I can't see the mirrors anyway. It's always a bit of a joke because some of the mirrors in this game are really high, some of them are really low. They just don't make any sense. I don't understand why, but hey, that's just the way it is in here. So a few bits and pieces of clutter in here as well, and then we just have two dressers. So she has a kind of wardrobe with that sort of floral kind of plant pattern on it, which tied in to the wallpaper really well, and then she has this low-lying one which kind of matches in a little bit more with the bed and stuff like that, and it also brings in some nice yellow into this room. And what I kind of envisaged in my head is that this was maybe the teen's bedroom at some point, and they kind of decided that the baby coming, that they needed to kind of move things around. And what I did with the teen's bedroom is I kind of went, and they've got like a big TV and a big games console, and I kind of had it in my head that like they had said to the teen, look, your sister needs a bigger room, can you have the smaller bedroom, but we're gonna get you an expensive like PlayStation, Xbox, whatever game console, a big TV, you can have it your own room, you can colour it however you like that kind of thing. That sort of soft bribery, I guess, in here. And you'll sort of see in here, originally it was going to be for a teenage girl. I actually changed it out to be for a teenage boy in here, and the wallpaper does change, but yeah, I kind of had to play this by ear, and in the end we I think it works in here. Let me know what you think. In here I kind of went for different combinations here, but yeah, I've kind of gone for this really nice dark blue and kind of black kind of vibe in here, which I think really works, and then trying to get lots of bits and pieces in furniture. So I made this bedroom smaller because I needed to get the bathroom in and a little bit more space for the living room in here as well. So that's probably why this is a little bit smaller. You can sort of see the bathroom that the kind of two kids share in here. It's a nice 3x3. I don't show you this in the speed build. I don't tend to show you bathrooms. Is it something you want to see? Let me know in the comments. I don't know. I feel like all my bathrooms are like exactly the same. So once you see them in one video, you don't tend to see them in any of the others. I don't know. Let me know. It's up to you what you want to see. If you want to see some more, if you don't, if you have any ideas, suggestions, feedback, definitely let me know in there. Interested to know what you kind of want to see in there as well. And yeah, getting in a little chair in here as well. Moving over the wardrobe. Again, a new one from Business and Hobbies, and then getting in this sort of a TV area in here. They do also have a little private kind of balcony. It doesn't go anywhere, it just simply goes to like a 3-tile balcony, but maybe if they're like, I don't know, want to sneak out or something, maybe they can like jump off the balcony or something in there. Obviously for gameplay that doesn't work, but in your head you can play however you really want to. But now we're going to move over onto the main bedroom. At the moment this is very pink. I do change it. I figured it was too feminine in here with like this bed, the rug, the wallpaper. It just felt a little bit too feminine for a couple in here. I don't know, but yeah. We're coming up to the end of this video, so if you had enjoyed it, then please give it a big thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel, and yeah, you can also follow me on pretty much all social medias. The links to those are down in the description, and also the name and ID of this build. It will be up on the gallery right now, so you can go and check it out and have it in your game if you would like to. But I think while we're just finishing off doing the last little bits of clutter in here, I shall sign this off here. So I will see you all in the next time. But until then, stay happy and stay building. Bye everyone!